Hey everyone, Mathis here. Welcome on this new session on AI. And today we're going to see how you can power up your Webflow skills using AI, integrating 3D inside of Webflow, using Spline, some AI tools to create videos from graphics you have been generated with Midjourney. This session is really going to be complete. I'm also going to share with you Agent GPT, which is a new tool based on GPT API that is going to allow you to make work for you little AI agents. So let's get down to it.
That's effing sweet.
So the idea of the last session, without talking about the Webflow development or anything, was to show you different kind of hacks I had and that I wanted to share with you guys while designing and integrating more AI in my web design workflow on a daily basis. For this purpose, we have been selected like a fictive project, something that doesn't exist, but that can look cool, on a piece of portfolio. There is always a passion that we have, something that we want to showcase, and that we really want to see on our portfolio or on the internet, on our blog or anything. And I think fake projects are a good way to do it. So it was the main context of the previous session, and I love hot sauce, and we've been designing this little Peruvian hot sauce brand, doing some packaging with Midjourney, some brand research with all these kind of Inca inspired textures, and we didn't been so long in the layout. I mean, we just mainly focused on the hero section, but the idea was to show you different hacks and techniques that you can incorporate. So that was just to give you a bit of context on this session, because today we're going to take this design over to Webflow and use specific use case I found interesting in terms of using AI in your development toolbox. First, we're going to look at Agent GPT. If some of you know it already, keep the surprise for the other. It's a real revolution. We have a new revolution in AI every week, but this one is pretty good. I love it. And then I'm going to show you how to generate video from Midjourney graphics. So basically how to turn an image into a unique video you can play with. And in this example, as we are seeing this, we see it really, flat static. And I think Webflow gives us the opportunity to make things animated, integrate 3D and everything. So we'll deep dive into Spline, which is a 3D tool that I love. It's the cloud-based Blender kind of. It's a simplified version of Blender that you can use inside of your browser. They also have an AI feature coming soon. I'm on the wait list. I don't have access to it yet, but I'm going to show you how to kind of play with AI inside of Spline using video. You're going to see it's kind of cool. And then we're going to go inside of Webflow and following a little client first structure, just build one or two section. We will see the time we have. Cool. So from here, let me switch over to Agent GPT. So I'm going to explain you exactly what this is about. It's basically a tool that is connected, that you connect to your own GPT API. So it's connected with the tool OpenAI have been created. And basically, you just insert your API key on the settings, and then the application is using your GPT API credits. The good point is that I saw that OpenAI recently updated their pricing. It's 10 times cheaper. So feel free to just go to ChatGPT API. So there's not technical, knowledge involved or anything. It's just going to your OpenAI dashboard, creating an account for API if you don't have it already, and then inserting it in the settings. And so the cool point about that, what I love about this is so this is a company that have been creating an interface on Agent GPT. The original software is named AutoGPT. but this one is like the interface version 1. I think it's pretty cool to use. The other is like using a terminal, interface, and it's not that user friendly. So for the live purpose, I think it was good to see it live here. So basically, if let me just duplicate this so we can go back to our current one later. So when you arrive on the UI, you have this. After that, you have inserted your API key, and basically you will give it a name. So the way you can use that is basically a ChatGPT agent that will work in an automated way. So I explain myself. When you are on ChatGPT, you always have to prompt and to ask back ChatGPT to roll the machine back. ChatGPT just stops by himself. With Agent GPT, it's like you give him a wider goal, and with this goal, Agent GPT will just deploy multiple agents using the GPT API and make them work for you. So in our case, I think what's interesting, guys, is that we have a brand, we have a product, but we don't have like marketing strategy or anything like this yet. So what we can do is ask while we're going to develop the site on Webflow, and while I'm going to show you everything, video, 3D, everything I talked about, we're going to let him work in the background. So when we finish almost the session, we can go back here and see what he did for us. So basically, it's like we are two today doing the session. Agent GPT is going to help me create the strategy for this new brand. So we are going to name him like researcher. And I'm just going to grab the prompt I previously created here. Create an actionable content strategy for my premium Peruvian hot sauce brand name, Pekinka. So let's keep it wide, and just, ask him to do the job. Cool. So before we go to the next step, just explaining you what's happening here. You can see this little brain icon thinking. What it's doing basically is creating multitask. So the first task is research and identify the target audience for Pekinka hot sauce brand based on market data and customer insights. Big difference from ChatGPT. This little guy can search the internet. So he has access to live information. He can compare your product to the competitors. It's pretty nuts. And here you can see already that he has completed a task, and you have been started to just dive into the things and ask the good questions, and he will reply to these questions by himself after all. That's pretty cool, and you can have like a list of the current task here. Let's keep the work rolling in background, and we're going to go back to our Figma right here. Cool. Okay, so something we are going to do now is using AI to turn an image to a video. So from my experience, the steps I'm going to show you works better for more abstract graphics. So in this case, we're going to use this background. We have a slide 16 by 9. It's perfect. And I'm just going to export it in PNG. Great. And then we're going to use a tool named Kyber. So this tool is in beta still, but it's really powerful. It has been used by artists, singers on the internet to create like video clips and everything. It's pretty cool. So here you can see some example I've been playing with. Basically, the thing about this product is like you add a picture of someone or something, and it just generates a video from it, in addition to a prompt that you give. So I've been creating this, but let's try something different. Begin with an image, going to upload file, up, just importing the slide we just created, continue to prompt, cool. Okay, so here it's almost like a mid-journey prompt. So we're kind of double prompting, first prompting for the graphic, and then we're prompting to ask him to create a video. So I want to create a video of, let's see what I got here. An abstract cosmic shell, Okay, we don't have to be that cosmic, I think. We can keep, okay, an abstract shape. So we give context, an abstract liquid, because yeah, the idea is that we're going to use this video to fill up the bottle with like a liquid. Imagine like we have a magic potion thing. That's the kind of assets I want to see on my hero section. So we're just building it live. An abstract liquid shape. With red and purple tones. Can add pretty. Okay, let's put gradient. Gradient looks generally cool in this tool. Okay. In the style of, we have to select a style. I don't know. Oil painting. Okay, let's remove some things here. I don't want this to be overstyle. Paint only, brush, okay. Okay. That looks like a prompt. Continue to settings. And here you have like basic edit on the things you want to do. So the duration, we're going to let it on 8 seconds. And because we're going to have like we're going, as I told you, to fill a bottle. So I think a rotate movement can be cool. So we can give this information now. And then here it's like the like in Midjourney, you can add like give more freedom to the AI to do things. I think we can go a bit crazy. 7. Okay, let's see if he do it fast. If he doesn't, let's go to next step. Okay, this guy is long actually. Let's get back to our design. Okay, so we're going to wait a bit to integrate the video to 3D, just because it's loading and we may need a few exploration to make it work. So I think we can already start to build a structure inside of Webflow, something I've been doing slowly from now. Let's just remove that. So I just created a basic structure. We have the client first basic site structure, and then I used Reloom to create a navbar. And we have a simple hero section and a preloader that we will talk about later. This guy is still loading. Maybe I can use the backup one so we don't lose time. But basically this is the shape has been created. So imagine this inside of a bottle. We just, we will not see as much details as we can see now. But the idea is to use it inside of our vector. So let me show you how to do that. First, let's go to Spline. Let's create a new file. Cool. Okay. So the best way I can explain it to you is maybe taking an example from here. So Spline is like Blender. So it's like the Webflow for 3D. Basically, you have this interface where you could create like 3D graphics in a much simple way than 3D is normally is. Like 3D is basically most of the time difficult. You have to know about proportion, perspective, lighting and everything. And Spline is really making that accessible to everyone. So here you have like a bunch of assets that you can move around and rotate, and and the interesting part about Spline, and why I think it's a cool thing to talk to you about Spline, is that 3D is, I think, a trendy thing in design, and that is, this tool is fully integratable. Like you can integrate it easily with Webflow. So Spline comes with like a viewer that interact with browser interactions. So basically, if here I drag the scene, I can just move around and like see some things. And here, if I click these little buttons, I can change the color of the scene. So that's just an example of interaction that you can have in Spline. And the cool part is that I can export the scene into a viewer. So here I have a little script embed. I copy the embed, and I can go inside of Webflow and just drag an embed here, copy and paste the code, and then I will give a height to that of 100 VH and 80 viewport width. Just adding a bit of padding inside of this to make sure. Okay, so here we have our frame. And here we go. So I'm inside of Webflow. This is actually the Webflow site. And I can change the color of this 3D thing. So it means that Spline stay interactive inside of Webflow. If you have a Spline account, you can then remove this built with Spline, and you have a fully integrated 3D artwork inside of Webflow. So that was for the little Spline overview. This is not the Spline course, but I'm going to show you how you can actually create unique stuff in Spline and integrate it inside of Webflow. So it was the example scene. Let's go to blank now. Up. And it's working also, like I show you a click interaction, but you can actually have like scrolling interaction. So while you scroll, something happen. It's really cool. Okay, so here, what I'm going to do, and this is the cool part about Spline, is that you can still import 3D model. So here I'm not going to recreate a bottle of hot sauce. I grab on the internet object, which is a bottle. So here we have our nice, clean bottle, a simple bottle. And here we have the different layers of our 3D objects. So we have the top, the bottle itself, the label, and the liquid. Cool. Let's remove the label. We don't need that. On the top, we can have like a purplish thing. So let's grab a value that is close to our current brand. And then let's grab the bottle. So look at that, guys. Look how easy it is, but generally changing material is really hard. Here, I just grab, the bottle. So importance in naming, keep this in Webflow, in Spline, in Figma, wherever you're at. Just try to name your layers. So here, I know exactly, that I'm going to change the material of this bottle. So I go to the bottle and I select the color field, which is actually like the material panel. I can add a color, a gradient, whatever. And here what interests me is a glass thing. So you can see I have like a really blurry glass. Let's remove a bit of opacity. 100% mean that everything that is going to be inside is going to be really blurred and we will not really see what's inside, and that's not what we want here. So let's put like 50%. And here we don't see that much the difference because the liquid that is inside is like just a full color, okay? And this liquid layer is something we're going to replace with the nice video that we have been creating with Kyber AI. Okay, if you go here, you will see this little star thing that we can see everywhere now. Webflow is also, it's also on the waitlist of their product release. So I'm on the waitlist. I don't have access to Spline AI, but basically Spline AI will be really crazy. You remember the room that we saw before with all these objects? We can just write and tell Spline, okay, create a house, and then create a button toggle that will change the wall of the house, and Spline will do it. So it's going to be really cool. We're not here yet, but we can still do cool things. So if I go here and I select the liquid, let's go to the same field that we went before, color. We have image, video, whatever. Let's put image. I will click on this little field, and here I have a generate with AI button. That's something I have access to already, and if you create an account, you will also. And that's interesting because sometimes in 3D, you don't know what to put as a texture, but this just help you. So here you can type anything, let's say hot sauce, for example. And he's been created this kind of hot sauce thing. I'm not sure that's what we want. Like if I put just red, he actually created the bottle inside of the bottle, but it's funny. Okay, we have something that looks like a red liquid texture, but you can see that, it's not crazy, like, yeah, I don't know, crazy with this feature. But sometimes, it can be cool. If you want this, for example, to be a wooden thing, actually can work better. We can generate with AI, like, nice corks texture. Nice. That's pretty good. Great. I like that. It's just, yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's go back to Kyber and see what's going on here. So I'll go to portfolio, my videos. Oh, wow. 99% complete. Oof. Look at that. I like that. It's kind of splashing. We will not see it's like, that deep, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You'll see for the purpose, it's going to work. So let's download it. Okay, let's go back to Spline, and here is the interesting part, guys. So I'll go back to liquid. I will switch. Oof, look at that. I like that. It's kind of splashing. We will not see it's like, that deep, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You'll see for the purpose, it's going to work. So let's download it. So you see, guys, I'm not cheating, huh? I'm doing everything live. And sometimes they're not that trendy, but I'm pretty happy with that render. Are you downloaded, buddy? Yep, you are. Okay, let's go back to Spline, and here is the interesting part, guys. So I'll go back to liquid. I will switch to video. And inside of video, I will upload my MP4 that we just created. And then I will scale it up a bit. So you can see in 3D, generally, you don't have like the pixel size that you usually have in Webflow, in Figma, Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever design tool you're using. They're using like scale. So the way Spline work for animations is basically states. So I'll create a state. And here I have two different states. The base state, let's call it base state, and the state 2. So we are going to call it, in our case, we want to do a rotation. So just to make sure we know where we are at, let's call it rotation 100%. The simple thing we're going to do is to create like y-axis rotation on this bottle, something infinite, so it's always, turning. So the base state, we can see here that our rotation here is at 0. And on rotation 100%, it's the same, it's 0. And here, if I change the value and put 360, we don't see it actually because it's like a full loop. But if I put like 280, you can see that it's actually rotating. So I can put 360. And then, so here we have our two states, base state, 0, rotation, 100%, 360. What we're going to do to animate it live is to create an event. So the event is going to manage these transition, the transition between these two states. Sorry. Let's create an event. The event starts when the animation starts. Whenever we land on the page, the animation will start. And we're going to create a transition. I click here, and here I can see like a panel. I can target the bottle. And here I'm going to select the first state, so base state. And the second, so the direction we want to go to is rotation 100%. Let's give it a value of, let's say, 6 seconds. So lower this number will be, faster will be the animations, because this is the duration of the complete rotation of the thing. Here, to make sure we have something linear, no change in speed, just switch it to linear. We don't want delay here. We don't want delay. We want a loop. We want an infinite loop. And we don't want a ping pong thing. Cool. Okay. That should work. Let's close this. Hit the play button. Cool. And here we have our bottle that is animated. We can see that the video inside is not playing. It's not normal. It should play. I think we're pretty good from this point. So let's do something. As we're going to embed this inside of Webflow, we don't want any background or thing. We want to have like full control over our shadow setup and background and everything inside of Webflow. So I'll just turn this gray background to transparent. And then another important point at this step is to have the proportion that you want, because actually, like if I zoom out like this, the bottle is going to be that small inside of Webflow. If I zoom in like this, it's going to be like this. Like it's going to keep the proportion the camera is at. So you have like a control over zoom here with percentage, and just try to find a good value. There is no good value or a perfect thing here. It's just about your object and playing. I can center in object, orientate to object. Okay. Here, it's another cool feature about Spline is like you can create perspective really fast. So if I want to create like an isometric perspective, I can do that like this, and you will be able to see the rotation. Actually, it's cool because we can see from this perspective the top of the bottle, the wooden thing. It's pretty cool. Let's just maybe do something on the video. try to reduce a bit the opacity, and just to like blur it a little bit. What I'm doing now, guys, is not really important. I'm just playing and try to see. So 3D, and the way I use it is really about playing with the settings and things. Okay, we have our bottle. The timer is going, so let's just export it. So here in this menu in Spline, you don't want the public URL. We want to see the viewer, the integrated embed. Here we want to add a few settings. So we don't want the Spline logo. We don't want a background color. We hide it. We don't want it to react on page scroll. The cursor of the mouse is default. We don't want the orbit. The orbit is the thing. Like, we already have a rotation, so we don't want to, over animate things. So we'll just turn off the orbit and the pan. Okay, zoom, no. Soft orbit, okay, why not? Zoom, no. Okay, cool. Update viewer. Don't forget, every time you modify the settings, you have to update the viewer. We are notified that the URL content has been updated. The good point is that while you copy the viewer code once, every time you update you update it inside of Spline, it will keep. You will have the latest version inside of Webflow. I mean, you don't have to rewrite things. Cool. So let's change it to this. I don't want the placeholder now. Okay. And let's just see in terms of proportion and everything, how it looks like. So up, I will talk about this loader later, but it's cool. Okay, nice. Look at that, guys. So we are on Webflow, and we have a 3D element animated. Can move it around. That's a setting that you can switch after, but I think it's cool this way. Nice. Then, okay, what I want to do here, guys, just to improve a bit our layout, is to write a text underneath, like a big text. Let me show you quickly what I have in mind. It just came to my mind. Part 3. So imagine that we have this bottle here, like on the center, so it's animated, and on the background we have the logo. It can be really cool. But maybe we can change a bit, just thinking about content. We already have the logo with the brand, so maybe we can find a little like Sublime, Inca Spirit, something like that, and just have it underneath. Something subtle like this. Cool, I like that. Let's flatten it in Figma, so it's like SVG, and then I export it to SVG. Okay. Going back to Webflow, image panel. Inca Spirit, that SVG. So I'm just going to name this properly. So Hero 3D embed, and I'm going to set the display to hidden just to see what I'm doing here. So you can see that this hero section is like really simple. We have like a centered layout. I'm going to import an image here, so it's centered. I'm going to call it hero main text, and then choose an image, Inca Spirit. Cool. That's exactly the result I wanted. And now we can go back to here and turn this to visible. So we can say actually that we don't see it anymore because everything is in position static, and we want the things to go on the top of the other. So section hero relative, it's good. This is static, we want it to be absolute. Okay, maybe just try to. And we're just going to change the z index of this and set it to 0, and this is going to be 1, so it's on the top of it. We're just going to make sure that these take actually 100% of the viewport, so it's like a full text view. Okay, great. And then let's see how it looks like. Stop talking, let's see how it looks like. Cool, nice, I like that. I think we can even, like, you know, add a label on the bottle with the brand. Like it can actually look really cool, and you can make it move around your thing. And yeah, I would love to go much deeper and add details and, you know, create another section, but I think the main concept, the interesting part of this is this one, and you're really free with the way you animate it. So here I have the setting enabled where I can move the bottle, but you can just block it and keep it in the center like this. And you can imagine like a little call to action here on the center. And even like animate your text, create like an infinite marquee. That's something you can do. Just before we finish, I think we can go to see what Agent GPT has been working on. So it's super cool, guys. We have learned Spline, we've learned some new AI tools, video and everything. Video that is not working, but soon it will be, I promise. And yeah, while in the meanwhile, we had a little agent working for us on our brand strategy. So let's just read through. Develop a plan for optimizing Pickinka's social media and website content based on the engagement metrics tracked through Google Analytics and social media analytics tool. This plan should include strategies for A/B testing different types of content, identifying top performing partnerships and collaborations. Okay, just a pause here. I think this should let you understand the main difference with Agent and ChatGPT. Agent is writing his own prompt. So this is the prompt he wrote for himself to work. I didn't write this, and it's actually really good. Like, here is the answer. Step 1. No, so it tells us what to do: set up Google Analytics, analyze the engagement metrics, A/B testing. And for A/B testing, he did like the version A. Okay, what we should try with the spicy chicken enchiladas and the other like with the vegetarian option. Maybe he's trying to see if the vegan or vegetarian community is like a target market of our brand. So it's actually really smart. So it's like more for the analytics part. And I think if we go right up here, we have insights about content, because that's the main question we asked him. These guys worked hard. We have a lot of content. Okay. Here we have another interesting thing. Identify and reach out to potential food bloggers, influencers who align with Pickinka brand value and target audience. So he suggests to contact influencers. And he's giving us the recipe for that. Cool. Great. Thank you for joining us, guys, on this new video about AI. I see you in the next one. If you have any recommendations, put it down below. And if you like the video, give it a like. Thanks.